It's been 50 years since Oakey & Sons have been in business. Join us on a journey through the decades as we learn from Ray and Steve about the humble beginnings of Oakey & Sons. You'll get to learn about the stories that took place behind the scenes and the challenges and wins that Ray and Steve went through over the decades. We're going to join Ray and Steve now as we find out how washing machines changed the face of their business in the 80s.
So that was the 70s where it all began. How did the business move in the 80s?
The 80s, well, we took on a shop. We had an opportunity to take on a shop. A friend of mine had started a lease, and he then had chance of a bigger premises, so he needed somebody to just take it on. And I changed it a bit because it wasn't electrical as such, what I was doing. So I took the shop on and had various electrical stuff in there, which then, down at Newnham this was, and a lot of people used to come in for small repairs and whatnot there. And that got me a lot of work in rewiring, because Newnham was one of the areas that first had electricity around here, and it was all lead wiring in those houses, and of course it was all a bit out of date, so it was a good opportunity for me really, because it got me known for doing rewires. And then so that kind of gave me a bit more contracting work. And then when the shop finished, the shop wasn't successful really, other than
as a shop.
No, it just brought extra work in. So then we got out of the shop, and as it happened, as I got out of there, a chap that could have been calling on me for years before suddenly turned up on the doorstep when I was trying to repair a washing machine for somebody.
A washing machine?
A washing machine, yeah, of all things. And he had a van load of spares, told me what spare I needed to fix this machine, and that all started off from there. And so he carried on calling regularly and giving me advice and whatnot. And
then you started doing a lot of washing machine repairs.
Yeah.
They were everywhere, all over the garden.
So were you still doing contracting work as well then?
Oh yeah, I was still doing rewires on my own for quite a long time. Well, didn't stop doing rewires really.
Just added the washing machines.
Just added the washing machines into the slack periods. But then that kind of grew once I come across this guy that was selling washing machines new, and he had old ones that he was collecting, taking away for people, and he used to drop them at the door, and
what were you doing?
I took the best out of them and repaired them.
And so you were buying old ones, fixing them up and selling them on?
Yeah.
Well, you must have been cleaning up.
Well, I was doing all right. I had to make a living somehow. But it fitted in well with my other work, so it was all right. I made a living.
That would have been the mid to late 80s. That would have been when I started working for you then.
Yeah, I expect it was, because you were sort of around about 12 then, weren't you? I expect, when you started helping me out.
Me up a ladder with a strap round my waist, trying to fix 3-phase cables that had been brought down in the snow, and I think Stephen is holding the ladder.
Yeah, well, I can remember it wasn't all washing machines, because I can remember coming on a big job with you. I think it was in Lydney somewhere.
Yeah, that would have been James Bevan's house. You helped me out pulling wires in there, so I was still doing a bit of contracting, yeah. Yeah, he was a very good customer. Of course, I worked for his father as well years ago when Bevan's buses. So he was a good customer, or still is.
Still is a good customer.
Yeah.
So what direction was the business going then in the late 80s?
Contracting out, rewiring, same sort of stuff as I'd always been doing really, but with the washing machines getting more and more, because people were getting to know where I was and getting to realise that they could get a decent machine that had been checked over.
So you were getting a good reputation in the area for doing the washing machines?
Yeah. Yeah, so customers were coming back, so I must have been doing something right, shouldn't I?
So that's when you would have been known as the washing machine man?
Yeah, around about that time, I suppose I was a washing machine man, and people used to come back after 10 years expecting it to still be under guarantee.
So you worked for Bevan's Coaches, and then for James Bevan, who's still a customer today. Have you got other customers from back then?
Yeah, because most of my customers stayed with me. Once I'd done a job for them, they had me back again, and they also passed my name on. And that's the way it was back then.
That's what it used to be like in the 80s?
Yeah, that was the 80s.
And so, that's how washing machines affected the business in the 80s. Join us in the next episode to find out how Ray's new apprentice changed how business was conducted in the 90s.